Imagine this. You wake up, scroll your phone, sip your coffee, and tell yourself the same comforting lie you've been repeating for years. I've moved on. You whisper it like a prayer, hoping repetition will turn it into reality. But deep down, somewhere in the quiet corners of your mind, something laughs. Something old. Something you tried to bury. Because the truth is simple and brutal. You didn't move on. You just stopped looking back. Your past didn't disappear. It learned how to control you from the shadows. Most people don't realize this. They assume distance equals healing. Time equals closure. Silence means peace. But time doesn't heal wounds. It just teaches them how to hide. And the wounds you don't face? They don't fade. They grow teeth. They pull the strings of your present life, one tiny thread at a time, while you congratulate yourself for being strong and over it. Let's be honest. If your past wasn't controlling you, you wouldn't flinch at certain words. You wouldn't shut down when someone loves you too much. You wouldn't chase people who treat you badly and run from the ones who don't. You wouldn't get triggered by situations that seem small to everyone else. Your reactions aren't random, they're echoes. Your fears aren't new, they're recycled. And your habits? They're just old survival mechanisms. Wearing modern clothes. You think your past is gone. But look at you! Still apologizing for existing. Still laughing things off you should be angry about. Still pretending you're fine. So people don't ask uncomfortable questions. That's not moving on. That's emotional camouflage. And your past loves it, because the less you see it, the more it controls you. You see, the past doesn't destroy your life with explosions or dramatic moments. No, that would be too easy to notice. The past destroys your life silently, subtly, slowly. The past shows up as that little voice that whispers, "Don't trust them. Don't try. Don't hope. Don't feel." It shows up when you sabotage something good, because it feels too unfamiliar. It shows up every time you choose people who mirror your old wounds, instead of your potential. And then you call it fate. How poetic. How tragic. How wrong. And here's the darkest part. Your past doesn't pull the strings loudly. It pulls them with precision. It doesn't ruin your life in one dramatic disaster. It ruins it one quiet decision at a time. One ignored boundary. One suppressed emotion. One toxic pattern you swear is just how I am. You're not built that way. You were shaped that way. There's a difference. Think about how you react when someone raises their voice, or when someone gets too close, or when you're on the edge of something great. You shrink. You doubt. You replay old memories, like they're sacred scripture. You respond to today's situations using yesterday's logic. And then you wonder why life feels stuck, cold, repetitive, as if you're living the same emotional day. On a loop. Spoiler, you are. Because the past doesn't need permission to run your life. It only needs you to avoid it. As long as you keep pretending you're over it, your past stays in power. As long as you avoid your triggers instead of understanding them, your past stays alive. As long as you choose comfort over growth, silence over truth, distraction over healing, your past wins. You think letting go is about forgetting, but forgetting is the easiest way to stay controlled. You don't heal by erasing the past, you heal by exposing it, by dragging it out of the dark, and forcing it to face the light. But that's uncomfortable. And humans? They'll do anything to avoid discomfort, because they feel familiar. You'd rather stay in the same patterns because they feel safe. You'd rather cling to old pain because at least you know how to survive it. And that's exactly how your past manipulates you, by convincing you that healing is dangerous and staying wounded is the safer option. Look at your relationships. Are you really choosing your partners? Or are your childhood wounds doing the choosing for you? Are you really afraid of love? Or afraid of losing it the same way you did before? Are you really independent? Or just terrified to depend on anyone? Because someone once made you regret it? Look at your dreams. Are you really unmotivated? Or did someone convince you years ago that you weren't enough? And now, you carry that belief like a tattoo across your soul. You walk through life like a puppet, telling yourself you're in control, while your past pulls every string. Who you trust, how you love, how you speak to yourself, what risks you avoid, what opportunities you reject, what pain you normalize. You don't see it, because the past doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't break the door down. It knocks softly until you let it in. And you do, every single time, because the past knows exactly which buttons to press. But here's the twist. Once you recognize the strings, you can cut them. Once you see the patterns, you can rewrite them. Once you stop lying to yourself, the past loses its power. But you have to stop pretending you're healed, just because you don't cry anymore. Silence is not strength. Suppression is not healing. Distance is not closure. And pretending is not recovery. You didn't move on. You just moved around the pain. And your past? It hasn't gone anywhere. It's right behind you, smiling, waiting for the next moment of weakness to remind you who's really in control. But the moment you stop running, the moment you stop avoiding, the moment you finally turn around and face what you've been escaping, the strings loosen. The past stops being the puppeteer, and you stop being the puppet. Until then, remember this. You think you've moved on, but your past is still pulling the strings. And it will continue to until you finally decide you're tired of dancing.